the gaming sessions. I was streaming Hitman yesterday. Just playing through it for fun. Man, I forgot how
Okay.
good that game is.
Hitman, yeah.
It's such a sexy game. Like, he looks so good walking around in his suit.
Hmm.
Makes me wish I was bald and white. But yeah, no. I'm really happy because the studio that made that game, Hitman, they're making the next James Bond game. It's been a fucking long time since we had a James Bond game.
The last one I enjoyed was on the 64.
GoldenEye,
Well, there
or
was GoldenEye, and then there was the other one.
The World Is Not Enough.
It was good because it was like kind of like a run through.
I remember The World Is Not Enough really stuck with me because when I was young, I was a little shit at home, and I would use any excuse to not go to school. Like a tummy ache would keep me home, and my parents would be like, "Okay," well, they didn't say okay, stay home. They'd give me a hard time, but they wouldn't fight with me. And I stayed home one day and I signed for a package. This fucking 13, 14-year-old kid. So I signed for my package and I shake it. I'm like, I don't know what this is, and I put it away. And then come Christmas morning, I see the fucking package under the tree. My parents were like, "Thank God you stayed home from school because you accepted your own Christmas gift." And I ripped it open. It was fucking The World's Not Enough for Nintendo 64.
Oh yeah,
Man, shit.
that's crazy. Things were being delivered back then. Well,
Yeah.
back then, I mean, you're younger than me. Never mind.
No, no. Like back then, to do that, it was unheard of. Well, not unheard of, but like it was like a big deal
Yeah,
to
I
do
remember
so.
hearing about it. People were like ordering clothes online, and you could like take a measurement. And people were like, "No one's gonna order online. You want to touch and feel the product." Now you're like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever."
If I'm not
I seen back
mistaken,
two things this week.
yeah. But if I'm not mistaken, I think my parents actually ordered it by phone. Like they had to call Sears or some shit,
Yeah,
like catalog, and say, "Hey, I want this, and here's my address. Send it to me." And there was no internet. There was no consulting.
consumers distributing, man. You remember that?
Consumers distributing. No.
They had little shops around, and they had a catalog. And it was just basically it was like the first Amazon. Okay, if I look back at it now, and are we live?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So consumers distributing was this thing where it was just like a catalog of whatever. It went from like men's clothes, women's clothes, kids' clothes, jewelry, stuff for the home, garden, whatever,
Yeah.
everything. Kids' toys, which was like the most popular thing because Christmas was whatever. So you could either order it, call up, okay, I want this one, whatever. Okay, come pick it up at this store, ship it to the house, whatever. And I mean, I didn't really know how it worked because I was a kid. Or there was corner stores that had it, and you could go in. And I remember buying my mom like a Mother's Day gift, and clearly it was cheap enough because I only had a few dollars to my name, or $10, $20, and my dad maybe put in the rest, and we get her like a little gold bracelet or whatever. Like they had like costume jewelry and real gold for good prices. And I remember as a kid, I got this toy, this little mini remote control, and I told my dad, I'm like, he's like, "Do you like it?" And I'm like, "It's all right. It's kind of small, whatever." He's like, "Okay, let's go return it and get something else." Okay, so I returned it and I got the Tyco Typhoon on the air. It was like a hovercraft, so it had like propellers. This thing made crazy noise, and I saw it in the commercials. It was like a toy that would go over water and land, and it was like this big tank thing. And I'm like, cool, cool, cool. But it was so hard to control because there was a delay, right? Like it's air. There's air being pushed up, so it's like hovering, and it's got like a big like bubble thing. Like it was based off a real craft, like a
Yeah.
real hovercraft, and two fans that would control left and right. But the thing is, you'd go forward, it'd really rip, and when you want to turn, the thing would just go. It would just keep on going, and then like
You're
because it
going
was so
beside.
heavy.
It'll go forward but sideways.
Well, that's it. Like, and then it even had a warning, like, okay, I want to put it on the water. It said, please make sure your batteries are fully charged before playing on the water, and only play with it for 5 minutes. Like, don't take a chance. Like, you have 15 minutes on the battery, you only have 5 minutes in the water.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay. And then after a while, like, I kept on banging into stuff, and I'm like, this is boring. So my dad exchanged it again, and I got my Fast Tracks, which was like again another Tyco toy with like a car with like tank tracks, but it was super fast. That was my favorite remote control car out of all my remote control cars because I could go on the grass, on the dirt, and you can make like do wheelies and stuff. Anyways, the whole point is it was consumers distributor, you could buy anything and return anything, and I think that's why they went belly up
Yeah,
because they.
their return policy murdered him.
I think that's what it was. I have to ask my dad. What I mean, I'm sure we could look it up now. Like, what was the flaw in consumers distributing? But they had a good rule. They're like, no, buy what you want, and like you want to return it, okay, return
Man,
it. Like,
based off what you're describing, it sounds like the Sears catalog book you used to get, like the one that was like it was like a fucking phone book. It was thick,
oh yeah,
and it
exactly.
had
It was in
everything.
competition. It was in competition with that for sure. It wasn't as thick from what I remember, but like I remember buying my mom once like a set of knives for like a bird, like I was a kid and like okay, set of knives, Black and Decker knife, chicken steak set, that's the type of stuff you could buy on there. Like it was just, but it was
Yeah,
good quality stuff. It wasn't like just cheapo Chinese. It was just like
man,
from anime.
I remember the Sears catalog. They had the women's underwear section. Mm-mm. Everybody remembers that. Everybody our age, but yeah. you know,
Guilty.
you know what's messed up? I was reading something the other day, and they were saying like how the easy access that people have to like pornography and stuff today, it's really, really, really messing up society, and it's messing up the minds of a lot of people out there, particularly men. Like it's taking away their focus, it's taking away their attention, and apparently because they're consuming a lot of this content, and obviously when they're consuming it, they're releasing something else.
Yeah.
That they're always being hit with like dopamine every time they watch porn. So they're always getting this hit of dopamine nonstop every time they do it, and it becomes addictive. And it gets to a point where, like, when young men are trying to study, or even women can get addicted to it, but like it's particularly affecting men, I think. And like when they're trying to study in school or they're at work or their jobs or whatever, all they could think about is the next jerk off. Apparently, it's like an epidemic of porn, so to speak. It's weird, but apparently that's a thing that's happening right now. And and you know what? I don't think it's blown out of proportion, because especially when you throw in to the mix like the OnlyFans stuff, you know how.
It gets a little. I didn't realize how easy that was to find and whatever. Like OnlyFans is a little ridiculous, especially how. And I don't have I don't have any accounts with them or anything. Or full disclosure, I don't really think it's I don't think it's a good platform. But that's a discussion for another day. Um, but it was like to me, I see it as an easier way of getting into the porn industry. So I think it takes away from the actual porn, the porn actresses and actors or whatever,
Mhm.
that you could do it that easily, and it really cuts the middleman, and it's way cheaper. You know, I
Uh,
mean, we've all gone on there now just to see what it is, and it's like $5 a month or $3 a month or free. Like they're really dangling the candy, and it's a little too easy because you're like, oh, okay, whatever, $3 a month, no big deal. I'll sign up for 3 months, and when I'm bored of this one, I'll go to the next one. You know what I mean? Like this is all the stuff that's going through my head. Like it's it's too easy, right? And these are real people now, so it takes away that element of like, oh, this woman is so beautiful. She's very unattainable.
yeah.
You know, uh, we'd see like, who do I remember as some of my favorites that I would call them my favorites because they're the only ones I would know. I think Rocky Roads, uh, Lexus Locklear. Uh,
Damn, I don't know these.
oh, see, I used to know them by certain names to be like, oh, that was the porn. Oh, she was the one. That was the blonde with the
Yeah.
really good boob job, and it was like, oh, okay, and then you like managed to get a magazine or something because we couldn't buy them. We were too young, but like Center for Rocky Roads, oh shit, and then you would see her like on a documentary or something like, okay, follow Rocky Roads, and
Hmm.
it was just now I don't know, like I don't like know if I don't even know if that's still a thing. Like I guess you'd follow a certain one or whatever, but there's so many different avenues you can go. So you have there's webcams are still a thing, which I'm very surprised that they are. Like why would you pay for that? But people do.
Oh yeah, yeah. You mean like the chat with a girl thing on the webcam? Yeah,
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 that's
man.
it's I don't know. It's like and one hand I understand that if you're a sex worker, fine, that's what you do. But then now it's like it's too I don't know. It's because like these Instagram things that pop up, and then these TikToks, and you're just like, how are you getting away with this? And then like you click a link, and you're like, oh, okay, you're promoting. All this is basically just to promote your where you're making your money, which is either other links, X Factor, or whatever, like all these other weird things, and then OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
it's like, okay,
it's funny because um and because I think it's important to highlight that and like we're not like well me particularly I'm not knocking on sex workers or anything like that. It's
no,
just and like, I'm not blaming them for the issues that I'm seeing. It's like anything else. Like you don't blame the video game industry that they make video games and then people get addicted to video games. You know, you don't blame the casinos when people get addicted to gambling, even though that's it's a touchy subject, but whatever. So like I'm not blaming the people that are in the industry. I'm just saying how it's like an unconscious problem that's out there, you know. And I saw there was like help groups and stuff. Like you know Reddit, right?
hmm
Like there's like subreddits out there called fuck what's it called? I forgot the name of the subreddit, but like like the No Nut November shit, right?
no nut November,
Yeah, you never heard of that?
no,
Yeah, it's a challenge that men are supposed to do every November for a whole month, no nut.
yeah,
So be
I'm
it.
down.
Yeah, but like there's like a bunch of support groups out there that are trying to say, hey, you should do this for a year, and see how your life changes. Like you'll see how focused you are. You'll see how much more time you have. You'll see how less distracted you are. And people are saying if you could commit to do it for a year, it's like you'll be blown away by what you can accomplish if you don't pursue that. And I was like, really? I mean, okay. First of all, I'm married. I don't know if I could deny my wife for that long, but she
Well,
might.
no, but okay, hold on. I think that would be different from marital relationships. Um, it'd be different from marital sex to like rubbing one out.
I think it would be
No,
different.
it would be different. I don't think like if you're married at that point, like maybe the challenge would be like I won't rub one out, regardless if like whatever my wife's away or type of deal. If you'd have to do it
But
that way because that wouldn't be. And I'm not opposed to that because it was funny because when I was doing my Kyokushin classes back when I was 25 and I was like top shape, um, I was talking with my sensei, and then we were just talking about like fights and whatever and guy talk and blah 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 blah. And then he was saying he goes I never um, we weren't calling it that back then, but he goes I would never he goes I nutted once before a tournament. He goes I had sex once before a tournament, and he goes and that's when I blew my knee. He goes, now I don't. He goes, before I do anything, um, I don't, I don't nut before I do
he
anything. Like
abstains. Yeah.
anything that changes, it sustains for him. And he goes, it keeps your mojo, it keeps this, it keeps that. He goes, we were talking about certain things, keeping focus, whatever. We fell on that subject, two guys talking, and and it was interesting because then I took that to heart when I was like, okay, so anytime I play a game or anytime I do something or anytime I do something like strenuous or go play soccer or whatever. I haven't played soccer in forever, but like in my younger teens, like, okay, we're gonna go swimming, we're gonna do something, we're gonna study for a test. Don't nut, don't. And I thought about it, like you release, and then it gets into the bit of the spiritual as well, like to be like if you're constantly doing it, there's like a chi, there's like an energy in you that if you're constantly giving it away to like to negativity and you're thinking like disrespecting yourself and your fellow brother and sister and whatever, it doesn't. There's something about keeping it in, like uh, that movie American Pie. Or what's his name? He's trying to like follow the Karma Sutra, and there's a thing about it too in the
Oh
Karma
yeah,
Sutra
yeah,
about
yeah.
holding a whole holding it in for so long and like how it's healthy for you and it is to a certain extent, I believe. And but it's yeah, it's definitely a culture. So I could understand where that's like those people aren't crazy. It's not a thing where like guys are like, are you kidding? I can't go a week. It's like good. You just choose not to, I think.
Yeah. No.
Some
Well,
people are addicted though. Some people are addicted.
yeah, 100%. You know, and like I've definitely spoken to some people who are like, yeah, no, I can't go a couple of days, I can't go a week and stuff like that. And I was like, damn. And I think there should be a difference that should be distinct between marital sex and like rubbing one out, like you said. But
Hmm.
also, like for an example, like the No Nut November, it includes marital sex. Like you just nothing at all is what it's supposed to be about. And and they're
I don't
saying,
get it.
and apparently a lot of dudes like get really focused in that month, the ones who participate in it. And then a group of them started saying, "Yo, we got to do this year round and see what could be accomplished," you know. And I don't know because I think it might be a fair thing to to explore or talk about with people because when you when you think about it, like people do also get addicted to like physical touch also.
Yeah,
You know, so some people just can't help but bang the next chick. They just can't help it. They have to. You know, they're addicted to that. You know what I mean? And the same way you can get addicted to jacking off, you can get addicted to sleeping with someone also, or just sleeping around, so to speak.
exactly.
So, anyways, I thought it was interesting when I saw that about there's an epidemic of young men out there who just can't let it go.
I actually know somebody like that. Kind of funny. And I'm just more like good for you because I find like as I get older, I'm just like I don't know. For sure, my testosterone's down. I got to start working out more or something, or eating the like. I don't really eat fast foods or whatever, but like I got to start like getting that back. I guess. I
Hmm.
mean,
I
whatever.
read
I'm okay, but
I read some stuff about the all meat diets and all that. Like Jordan Peterson and then Joe Rogan, all these guys swear
I'm
by it. But
surprised. I'm surprised that they do that diet.
well, I think Jordan Peterson it's not by choice. Well, it's somewhat by choice, but he has some kind of disease where he can't consume any form of wheat or anything at all. And so he had to switch to an all meat diet, and now he's on an all red meat diet. It's strictly all
Yeah,
he
because he was
eats.
doing chicken and broccoli only, right? At one point.
Yeah, that's it. And apparently he swears by it, you know. And it's kudos for them if it works for them, you know. And like I mean, they've made this joke, and I don't want to be a parrot to what they're saying, but it's like I'll take food advice from them before I take it from Bill Gates. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just by looking at them, you know what I mean? It's like I'd want to see what the impacts of what they have is versus like Bill Gates is you know here's my box of emulsified eggs that's made in a lab.
Exactly.
You know,
And then insects
like
and all that stuff.
not down. I remember when I went to your house, man, and you served us breakfast once. This the brightest yellow fucking eggs, and they tasted damn good, man.
Oh, okay. I was like, what is he talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, yeah.
That
It's funny how some people can taste it, and I've had people because I work like sometimes I sell my eggs at work, and I had one person really be like, "Oh my God, they're really delicious," and one person was like, "I don't really taste the difference," and I'm like, "Okay." Like she's like, "But I eat a lot of junk food." I'm like,
okay.
"Okay." I guess like in my head I'm like, then you should really taste the difference, or are you trying to say that your your taste buds are completely shot, you know?
Hmm.
So I was kind of surprised at that. So she never bought another. Not that I'm selling them like that. It's just because of at work. I couldn't just start giving them away because it was like it made no sense. Like everyone would be asking me for eggs all the time. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Just give me $5 and I'll bring you some eggs when I have like a little bit of surplus,
Exactly.
you know. And then so it's just funny how certain people's perceptions. So like I didn't even say anything to you. I wasn't like, hey, you. I remember you just saying it. You brought it up. You're like, wow, these eggs. I can taste the difference. And that's what I remember. Um, from the first time I noticed eggs tasting different. And if you cook them in olive oil, it just like the flavor just like goes through the roof. For me, like if you fry them up in olive oil,
I know that olive oil has a very low burning points. That's why I start smoking very quickly when you cook with it. So if you're gonna cook with olive oil, you got to cook fast. You know, like you can't just let the pan heat up too much with it. But
Mhm.
now I started cooking strictly with olive oil. And I even found I know this is not good. It's still like it's like somewhat processed, but I found a can of Pam, but olive oil.
So the issue with Pam, it's not the oil, it's the propane.
That's it.
So 'cause my dad used to use it a lot. He's like, oh, it's so much easier. You can just take olive oil and get those pump spray bottles
Yeah,
and just do the same thing.
that's it.
And you have no like that's the problem with any aerosol. It's propane. Like
Yeah.
you're eating gas. Like you're
Like,
eating
like you,
gas.
you can actually I remember back in high school we used to buy those, like, everyone used to wear Axe when I was in high school,
Yeah.
and you would just like spray it and just light it on fire,
Yeah, of course.
and you could do that with Pam.
Because it's propane.
It's
It's
propane. Like,
you
a lot of people are like, "Oh, the oil burns that quickly." I'm like, it's not the fucking oil that's burning. It's fucking
no, it's
propane, and it's
exactly. That's it, right? That's just another one of those products that happens to make it into our consumerism, and people are
Mm.
like, well, if it's bad for us, then why would they put it on the shelf? And to me, it's that conversation of like, well, then I guess if you're going to use that logic, then there's nothing wrong with smoking.
Mm.
Oh, but smoking causes cancer. But then why are they still selling cigarettes? It may cause cancer.
In the words of Red Dead Redemption 2, because of the goddamn money. But yeah,
Exactly.
it's the reason, man, and it's also the reason why they're probably doing it with propane. It's probably the cheapest way to get it on the shelves, you know. And you know what else is fucked up about what I'm noticing on the shelves and everything is shrink. You ever heard of shrinkflation?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, that shit is intense, man. Like,
That's been happening for a long time.
oh, it's been happening for a
Since
long time,
yeah, because
but
because all I can remember is my parents saying shit like that. I used to buy a box of cookies, and for fuck's sake, I'm like, okay, but the bread used to be, two loaves for the price of one now. It's like,
yeah.
okay,
Oh, but it's not even that. It's not even the price of products changing. It's the product itself changing. That's shrinkflation.
cookies are smaller, Oreos are smaller, fuck, everything's
Not
smaller.
even, like, dude, like, okay, you know the celebration cookies you could buy in the supermarket?
Yeah,
Okay, so next time you buy a pack, take a look, because there's like six indentations, right, for the cookies, and there's three cookies per stack,
okay,
right?
okay.
But the four in the middle, there's only two cookies because they put a piece of plastic in there so they could shove less cookies in the box, but it's the same box. You know what I mean? And the other
So the
day,
weight is the same?
the weight is the same, and it's the same box, it's the same packaging. It looks like the same thing. You think you're buying the same fucking cookies you always got, but then when you get home, you're missing four cookies, but you paid the same price. You know, that's shrinkflation. And for instance, Febreze. We used to buy Febreze often, me and my wife, when we had the. Well, actually, we should probably get some again because we have two cats now. But anyways, um, and I noticed that on the Febreze can, I noticed that it wasn't lasting as long. I was like, what the fuck is, like, what is this? You know, and then I realized that the can is the same size. You know, but the plastic at the bottom, if you rip it off, a huge chunk of the bottle is missing. So they basically made the storage container for the Febreze spray smaller, but they added a piece of plastic at the bottom to keep the can the same size. So you don't actually go and read how much mLs or whatever or ounces is on a can, but you're buying it thinking you're getting the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that blows my mind. And I saw someone posted a picture of like what a Big Mac used to be back in like the 80s, you know, or the 90s, and then you look at a Big Mac today and it's like the size of what the cheeseburger used to be. And McDonald's was that?
Yeah, maybe. I
And
don't like McDonald's is a I don't know. I know their fillet of fish is a lot smaller. I love the fillet of
you're
fish.
like, back in the day it was a whole slice of cheese, not half a slice of cheese.
Oh, dude, my thing when I was a kid, man, I loved the BLTs where you had to make the sandwich. I thought that was the coolest thing. It came in a white box.
Hmm.
You opened it up and you had like, I'm like, this is cool. I'm making my sandwich. Eat the whole thing. Like,
Oh man, I remember, like, I remember McDonald's had a lot of weird shit like that. I remember my first real job was at McDonald's when I was like 16 or 17, and that was during the time when McDonald's used to make subs.
what?
I don't know if you
Like,
remember that. Yeah,
no.
yeah, we had a substation, man, and we used to make subs with like blue cheese and cold cuts and all kinds of shit for people, man. It didn't last long.
Oh,
It
that was
last.
their health. Yeah, yeah, that was their health. Yeah, I think that was like the health section part. Like you could have a salad at McDonald's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the salad was always there. They actually added subs for a while, and it was so strange. Like we had our own meats for it and stuff. It was a whole. They actually added a whole different station just for it, and it lasted like a summer, I think. And then they dipped. They're like, fuck that.
Oh, yeah, okay. It's like the McRib.
I hate that thing. I had
I
it
never
once.
tasted.
I had it once.
I
I'd
never
never want it
tasted it.
again.
No, that was like they got a deal on pork, and they're like, okay, we're making McRibs.
Pretty much. And then they make it in the shape of ribs with the bone and everything, but there's no bone at all. And
Yeah,
like
that
like there's
was.
so much psychology that goes into their food. It's fucked up, man. You ever
Oh,
see?
dude, even back in the day, it was like a color code thing.
Yeah,
They always had a specific. It was like a blue and yellow, or it was like a red and yellow, and everything was color coded. You got the smell. You got the kids. It's like, oh, okay, look at these colors. Let me go in and like,
hmm
for me it was the lemon cookies. Like I was a fat kid. Like I used to eat a lot, and I was pretty pudgy. And my mom, it would just be the guilt trip, right? Like I would have my burger, my fries, and 6 nuggets. And
as a kid.
as a kid, man.
Yeah.
And like we didn't go to McDonald's often. It was
hmm
like a treat.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, hey, let's go to McDonald's. My dad like didn't really parents never really like they just didn't want to cook. Like certain Friday nights they just didn't want to cook. So they're like, okay, we're going to McDonald's. We're gonna go do groceries, take the kids, we go do groceries, and then let's go do some McDonald's. It's like, okay, cool, go to McDonald's. And then still be hungry, and sometimes I'd get an extra fillet of fish. And just because the fish was like sweet and I just enjoyed it, and then I get my dessert and I get a box of cookies. Those lemon cookies were like, yeah,
McDonald's had lemon cookies.
they had two types of cookies. They had I love them both, but it was the little mini chocolate chip cookies in the box, came in the box,
Okay.
or you could get the animal crackers cookies.
Oh fuck yeah! I forgot
Yeah,
about those.
yeah. I mean, it was ice cream, but I never got the ice cream. I just didn't care for it.
No, Mickey D's ice cream I never cared for. Even like Mickey D's McFlurries and stuff, I never cared for it either. It was never my thing. Me as a kid, it was the nuggets, and unlike a
Yeah.
lot of people, I was a big fan of the McChicken. I used to like
Chicken
them.
was good.
I
I
used to
don't
like
have
the
different
McChicken.
chicken now. It seems it was like air. It was air back then. It's still air now.
Yeah, exactly. And
Like you eat it and you're still hungry. You're like, I don't feel like it's like as if you didn't eat protein.
yeah,
You
like
know?
there was no protein or fat in this thing. Well, for sure there's fat, but you don't feel satiated at all when you're done with it.
No, at all. It's like Chinese food 20 minutes later.
Yeah, Chinese food is fucked up in that way, man. That I don't get.
I had one bad experience with the MSG,
hmm
where I had like a straight on panic attack, like an anxiety attack, because it just of the way my it made my heart feel. Just in this random place off sources, and I was with my instructor, my teacher at the time for recording, and he goes, I know this really great place. He goes, just tell them no MSG. I'm like, okay, no MSG, whatever. But I think they reversed it or something because it was so salty, and then I had like palpitations. I had like heart palpitations. That was the first time
Jesus.
that ever happened to me. And then I was like, okay, now I know what you're talking about, MSG. Like this is the Chinese taste, but it was like that, but times 100.
hmm
I don't know what they were doing, and I didn't understand what the MSG was until people were saying MSG is bad for you. It's like, okay, whatever.
I don't think because I've seen people cooking with MSG. Like they'll be cooking like an entire wok full of rice, and there's like less than a teaspoon or maximum a teaspoon of MSG going in that whole wok. You know. So if they sprinkle that thing on like it's fucking salt in your food, hell yeah, man, that's not good. That's
It was just weird. It was like it didn't have a taste. It was just like it wasn't like licking salt, but it was like okay, interesting. And then it was like I had these heart palpitations, and I'm like, oh, that's what the MSG. So the guy must have reversed it, or because he said just tell them no MSG and it's fine. Or the Chinese was like, fuck this shit, no MSG. We have to put MSG, or else, or whatever supplement they put was like worse.
Jesus.
So I don't know. That was one and only, but I just never went to that place again. And then
Mhm. I
closed down, surprisingly.
And you know what? It was funny to hear you say like how your parents would take you guys out to go do the groceries and then they'd get McDonald's on the way home and that was it.
Yeah.
That is funny because like that's like an ongoing. Oh, Anana's Bananas is saying in the chat how yeah, actually that's true. She says MSG gives me headaches sometimes when I have Chinese food. And
Yeah, of course.
it only happens to Chinese food. I get a headache sometimes, and it has to be the MSG. for all I know. And what I was saying is that it's like a meme right now that's going around of people saying, um, like I just spent $400 on groceries, and now I'm gonna spend $40 at McDonald's to eat. You know what I mean? I thought and the way the joke is being presented, it's like that's how this generation functions. But the truth is, that's just how we've always functioned. That's just how we've always done things, and it
It's
makes
tradition, right? I mean, like everyone does groceries on Thursdays because that's when you get paid.
yeah, true.
I mean, gas still goes up on Thursdays. There's a reason.
Yeah, yeah, and I remember there was that other thing, something about when I used to work at Best Buy. Someone explained it to me. Because Best Buy, when I worked at Best Buy back in '07, like they still used to like send out paper flyers and stuff, to your house to
Mhm.
show you their sales and whatnot. And I remember their sale was on a specific day because they knew payday was on Thursday, but it
Yeah.
wasn't on the Thursday. It was on another day to amp people up for sale day, for payday. I mean, sorry, there was like a whole science behind it. I was like, Jesus, the marketing that companies put behind manipulating you into wanting their product, from McDonald's to Best Buy to fucking Nissan to everybody, man. Like it's crazy how it's like they've narrowed down consumerism to a science now. And they're just like feeding you and pumping you with shit like you have to buy this. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's messed
Oh
up.
no, marketing is. I mean, just in the grocery stores where all the sugar is at kid level,
Hmm.
right? Just that alone, and you see it like at places like Winners where you're standing in line and there's just aisles of junk.
Just
As
garbage.
they make these aisles now, it's like it's so smart, force you in an aisle.
Yeah.
So you see something and you're like, look at this neat cup.
Yeah.
Oh, it's only $20.
Yeah.
Fine, like, or look at candy or specialty chocolates that are specifically made for this store that are made in China, but it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, whatever, like
Oh, look at
Belgian
this! Look,
chocolate.
look at this little cactus. Or like, oh,
Yeah.
look, miniature towels. Like, what the fuck is a miniature towel? Like, why do I need that? You know what I mean? It's like it's a bunch of useless fucking shit that they make you walk through this goddamn zigzag to get to the cash register, and there's no one else in a lineup, but you still have to walk through this zigzag. And
It works, dude, because I'm staring at all that stuff because you're sitting there waiting. What else are you doing? You're staring. And all the
mhm.
candy's right there at eye level because it's all low. Those shelves are all low. So the kids are there, Mommy, I want this. Mommy, I want
Yeah,
this.
that well,
They're not.
there's that, and I heard there's also a science that goes into the racetrack of a grocery store. Like there's a reason that shit keeps shifting around in the grocery store. Like as soon as you walk into the grocery store, what's the first thing you see?
Uh, chips.
Well, you'll see chips and like bread and all that stuff coming through the doors.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you get through the doors, first aisle, veg, veg,
Yeah.
fruits and all that stuff.
The organic stuff,
And then the deeper you go,
flowers. Yeah.
like when you want to get a carton of milk, where do you have to go usually?
All the way to the back corner.
Exactly. You have to go to the back of the store to get your carton of milk. You have to walk through everything to go find it. It's not at the entrance. It's not near the cash. It's not just
No,
a quick in and out.
there's a saying: avoid the aisles at a grocery store.
Hmm.
Avoid the aisles.
Man, it's fucking crazy how we've turned consumerism into a science. And
But that's also, there's that. But then there's also a familiarity, right? Like they have a certain, like obviously every grocery store is going to be just like a tad different depending on how it's laid out or what the size of the building is and
yeah.
how they want their deli section and like IGA, especially in the West Island, I find is like the way they hold themselves is that they're like IGA and Metro are like the higher end grocery stores. It's like it's a fucking grocery store. I don't believe this, but it's like the higher end. So like things, the shelves are nicer. You got the wood, and then the people with the chef hat serving you the the, the lunch. The barbecue lunch, which is always it's a good deal. And you have the fresh like I walk in and I always see the sushi bar. There's always some lady there making fresh sushi. So it's
Yeah.
like it's interesting. It's like you forget. You're like, hey, the grocery store actually has some pretty decent things to offer. Like their fried chicken doesn't look that horrible, and they've actually got a rotisserie thing hanging there, and it's working. You
Hmm.
know, and those are great for like half the time. How many times does my wife say, "Let's just go get a chicken," or "We're gonna
Yeah.
go. We're gonna go IGA. We're gonna go to Metro or whatever's hot." Like, but you know that they're sold out by 7 o'clock. You're lucky if there's even one left.
Yeah.
because after dinner, after work, everyone comes in. We go, okay, let's grab a chicken for dinner. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, I hate those chickens reheated though. But like that night, that chicken, delicious because the
Exactly.
fat is still there.
You know what's funny? Ananas Bananas hates that chicken. She didn't like it until I bought it a couple of times, and I told her, just get that, get a baguette, you're good to go.
Exactly.
And oh man, and now she loves it. Now she's like, yeah, good job, good job. But
That's like me. I used to be a breast guy, and then my dad and my brother would always get the leg, and I'm like, my mom and I would always get the breast. I'm like, you guys are crazy. The breast is nice, thick, it's juicy. And then in like, I don't know what it was. I think I had made a mistake. Something I got a leg and a thigh instead of a breast for like a meal or something. Some St. Hubert thing.
yeah,
I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's a mistake. I don't care. It was like a group thing. I'm like, I'm not gonna start complaining. I don't care. It was free food. Shut up and eat. And I ate. And I'm like, yo, this is delicious. The
yeah,
brown meat is actually really good.
oh yeah,
It's like, why did I ever think that it wasn't? And I'm like, so now it's like, I see a chicken leg or drumstick. I'm like, I'm down. Like, let's just
it's racist.
screw white meat. Screw white meat. Never. Everyone's like, you want to pay extra for white meat? Hell no. No, you give me that brown meat. You give me that
Hell,
fatty
you know
meat.
what? Because I'm a dark meat guy, 100%. And whenever I go somewhere and I see that like they're telling me it's like how, yeah, but we only have dark meat. I'm like, that's fine. That's exactly what
That's
I
fine.
want. And then when they say like how, oh, we can only give you dark meat, but sorry, we can only give you the white meat, but we'll charge you the dark meat price and stuff like that. I'm like, sure. It's like I don't understand why the dark meat's cheaper. I can't believe there's not that much people that like it, or if it's a less popular cut. It's because there has to be more protein in the breast probably.
I think the 80s, somewhere along the line, like I think at that point, eggs were bad for you. And they were saying that the white meat is better. White meat is better than red meat. But in a chicken, there's two meat. There's the dark meat and then there's the white meat. But it's like, I don't know. I guess I would have to look it up. I never actually took the time to look it up. Like, it's not white meat and brown. It's just white meat and the darker meat.
Yeah,
It'll never be as white as the breast because it's just the fat content, which is normal. And there's more veins in the legs, so you're gonna have that blood seeping in when you cook it. It's
yeah,
normal. And
and and,
and sometimes it
and not to
stays pig.
mention like the wings, the thighs, and the drumstick and everything. It's directly all attached to the bone, the
Yep.
marrow, everything. You know.
That's the juiciest part, bro. That's the juiciest part.
Yeah, and
Um,
Ananas Bananas is saying love is a strong word. She's talking about the rotisserie chicken. Okay, she likes it.
you, okay, you know what's weird? I want to talk about the stream for a second.
Yeah.
On your page, because I'm watching it on the Facebook on my side, just to see if anybody mentions anything on my page. I see that there's one viewer,
Yeah.
and her message popped up in your thing, but I don't see it on my share here.
No, because your share is for people who are going to be chatting through Facebook. Ananas Bananas is chatting through Twitch. And what you're seeing in that
Okay, so I
box is
won't see
Twitch
anybody
chat.
comment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I got boot. I got boot.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like eating off the bone. That's Ananas Bananas again. I'm hearing more and more people say that I don't like eating off the bone.
My wife won't touch bone.
Really?
It's there's bone in like chicken wings. She'll never touch them.
Oh,
Um,
but it's so delicious.
Ribs. I know. I know.
No, but
She won't
wait,
touch
but
bone.
wait. If she's served rib with no bone, like the type of smoked ribs you can pull the bone right out, she'll have those.
Yeah, as long as there's not a lot of fat in it, it's fine. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
texture thing.
Oh, okay, okay.
She's not a big red meat, yeah, red big like steak eater either. So it's
Okay. I have there's no defense for that one. Hey, if you don't like it, you don't like it.
hey, it's my marriage, and she doesn't like seafood or anything like that. So I mean, I think she's allergic to the oils of fish. So I mean, she's had shrimp before. It's a texture thing, and I'm like, you know what? I'd love to share like a lobster meal with you and like enjoy it, but it's like it's saving us so much money that it's just one of us that eats it, so it's perfect. It's lobster season just for me.
Yeah. And as Banana says, she will eat off the bone sometimes. Just it's too much work for too little reward. Ooh.
Well, it depends, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like for me, a chicken wing is not a lot of work. it's a,
No,
it's a mini drumstick. It's
I had some bad. I had some bad chicken wings the other night. I had my nephew over,
Mhm.
and I had some like frozen chicken wings. She was like, make chicken wings and hot dogs. I'm like, oh yeah, sounds like a plan.
The hell, chicken
And
wings and hot dogs.
yeah,
Did you guys
and
go see a ball game?
well, it's no, we're just hanging out, just some dudes. No, we had a big breakfast. So I'm like, okay, for dinner we'll go like total casse-croûte
Okay.
and I took out some fries and whatever, and we were so full. But the chicken wings were like honey garlic, but they had no flavor. It was just weird. It was just like you're tasting it. I'm like, did I cook these okay? Like I'm alive, so clearly I did. But it's just like the skin. I don't know. It was like garbage. It was very disappointing. It's like, how do you fuck up chicken wings? It's like they're frozen chicken wings. Like just following the instructions. So it's just like it can't be me. And then so I didn't taste any garlic at night. And then like I get to bed, and then Jen's like, I smell garlic. She goes, what did you eat today? I'm like, I had breakfast, and then we had dinner, and that was it. Like I'm like, the only garlic I ate was the chicken wings, which was honey and garlic, which I didn't taste. So I'm like, did all the flavor get into my beard or something? Like, is it like, did I not floss enough? Like, is it still stuck in my? She's like, no, I smell garlic on you. And she woke up. She goes, yeah, you still smell like garlic. I'm like, I just took a shower. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh man. But when it comes to chicken wings, man, I'm more of a no sauce guy. I like them fried or air fried, and I just like them plain, salt rub, and
Yeah, that has to have the flavor has to be already within it.
exactly.
Chicken wings,
No, it
like
needs to be marinated. Don't just like
yeah.
fry me a raw piece of chicken. Like no.
When there's a game on, like the buffalo wings and the cream sauce, just to be like, okay, it's cool, it's an interesting flavor. The best wings I ever had though were in Massachusetts. I went, my buddy Mike went for like a golf weekend because his at the time stepdad had like some timeshare, and so we he was gonna lose it, so we went and we decided to make a weekend out of it. And there was this pub, like this famous pub or popular, I don't want to say famous, but like popular pub, and and they had all kinds of beers. I had like this pumpkin beer, not
Mm.
pumpkin spice, but a pumpkin beer, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. Like drinking pie, and we were getting yammered. And then at one point, I'm like, okay, I guess we should eat. And I was trying to figure out, I'm like, it was $12 for a plate of wings,
Hmm.
and I'm like, okay, and it said six wings, and I'm like, what? This is back in the day, so now this is a steal, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know 50-cent wings if they exist, or now it's probably like a 250, $2 a wing. But
Yeah. I've never heard
it
of
was
50
like
cents wing anymore.
12 American dollars for six wings, and I'm like, are these guys like insane?
Hmm.
Six wings, six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and you're gonna charge me $12. I'm like, and my buddy Mike, he's there, and he's like, no, no, he goes, apparently they're really famous for their wings here. $12. It's $12 for six chicken wings.
It's like, did
And I'm
Tom
like,
Cruise sneeze on them? What happened here?
exactly. It's like, what's going on? He's like, no, apparently they're really good. I'm like, I'm drunk at this point. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, call over the waitress. I'm like, these wings, are these like the best wings in the world? She's like, our wings are fantastic. And I'm like, they better be for $12. I'm like, all right, just give me some wings. Because I didn't want a big meal. I just wanted to munch. I'm like, okay, I mean, whatever. I'll buy them, like, if they're that good. They came. They were this big. I think they were turkey wings, but it said chicken wings on the things. It didn't make sense. They were like it was like six breasts of chicken, but with bone in it,
The
and it was
fuck?
like I'm just saying like the size of it. Like the size of it
Yeah,
was
it's
like
a
this big.
fucking ostrich wing.
It
It's
was
like,
exactly. I was just like, I'm like, you're gonna help me eat this, right? Like there's like I'm gonna have two and I'll be full. Like I'm not gonna eat six wings. So and then it clicked why they were $12. It's not like it says jumbo. It just says $12 for six pieces of wings,
yeah.
chicken wings. So I was like, so. Anyways, those were the best fucking wings I've ever eaten in my life because they tasted like a chicken wing because it had the same fat content. To this day, I will never forget it. I think I was in my early 20s. I will never like my taste buds are still like
Yeah.
with that pumpkin beer that I was like pounding down.
You
It's like,
start to get that like sting in the back of your molars, like, oh, it's craving
my
something.
molars are growing.
Yeah. Ah man.
Oh,
You know what people are sleeping on though? If you want some really good fried chicken and that kind of stuff, Korean. Go to Korean joint and get the fried chicken. Like,
You know what?
dude,
Every time I go to Korean, I'll try that next time. Every time I go to Korean barbecue, I always get the beef, just because I don't usually eat beef, so I'm just like, go for it. It's funny that we're talking a lot about chicken though, um, because
something happened to
because
Blanche.
Dorothy,
Oh
she died.
no,
Dorothy passed away today.
no way.
Yeah, and it didn't make any sense. We were, and 'cause the chickens even this morning had a different throw, I guess, whatever you want to call it, like a cluck.
Yeah,
They were like sad. It was a sad, and we're like, something must have happened because normally they're either screaming on the top of their lungs or just being regular annoying. There's the okay, we're awake, let us out scream, and then there's like there's a predator around and we're nervous scream, which
yeah.
is the same scream, just very louder, a lot louder.
Hmm.
But today it was a tiny, almost a purr, but we were just like something happened, and then Jen checks the camera. She's like, "Yeah, one of them's not moving," and like, and she goes, "I noticed last night that they were all on the perch except for one of them." I'm like, "Yeah, but that happens sometimes." And we were expecting it to be Sophia because we were having some issues with her. She had like an egg that was stuck in her. She was egg bound. And
Okay.
then, but no, it ended up being Dorothy, which we were like totally surprised. And then we saw her, so we time lapsed the camera. She came in the night before. She laid an egg, and then the egg disappeared, so it broke. Because for the past 2 days, we've been getting eggs that are like deformed. They're not
From
they're
her.
like soft shell, yeah, because they're warm and they're soft and they harden weird. There's nothing wrong with the egg inside. I mean, we've eaten them and I'm still alive. Um, but this one was so soft at that point that it broke. And as I was cleaning out the thing, it clicked after. I thought they had like peed a lot for some reason,
Mm.
but it wasn't. It was the egg because the chickens that come in and they were pit. And I'm like, get out of here! I'm trying to clean. Like your sister just died. And I'm like, oh wow, you guys really peed a lot. But it wasn't pee. It was the egg had cracked. Like it
Okay.
just disintegrated or whatever. And you see her and she lies down. She makes one more movement, and that's it. She didn't make the night. I checked her for fleas. I checked her for whatever. See if there was an egg stuck in her. Nothing. It was clearly not because she had laid the egg. Like just random. Like she was. They were all fine yesterday. They were flocking around. They were at the window of my studio, just pecking at the door. They're all of them hanging out together.
Yeah.
No issues. Lost the chicken today, man.
Damn.
Yep.
Dorothy's Dawn. So wait, like I don't want to be insensitive here, but what happens in these situations now? Like do you cook it or do you get it tested to see if something's wrong?
I'm
Or
not eating my own chickens. Are you mental? No, it's not gonna happen.
but is there like anything you have to do? Like get it tested, see if there's like do they have a disease that it can spread to the other chickens or
Well, you check. Apparently, according to my wife, you just check to make sure that fleas didn't, because it's a little early in their life stage to die. Chickens can die for whatever reason. If there's a lightning storm, I'm surprised my chickens are still alive with all the rainstorms we've had, you know. But last night there was no noise, there was no nothing, and she just kind of came in, laid her egg. But clearly there was an issue because her eggs were being deformed. We thought it was Sophia because Sophia had the egg thing stuck. Like she was walking around one day that like she was drunk, and Jen put her in a salt bath, an Epsom salt bath, and to help get the loosen the egg, and it all popped out and whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Is she fine? Is she alive? Like, I'm like, these things are $12 each. Like, I'll just go get another one. Like not to be insensitive, but
a chicken's $12?
forget how much we paid. It was under $20. I mean, you can get chicks for $5. You can grow them from chicks, but it's a bit more work. Like you have to keep the heat lamp, and you
Yeah.
get the chicks, and then they grow, and then like it's way cheaper. They're $5 each, unless you get a fully grown but not egg laying ready. So you get them like I think 8 weeks old, 8 to 9 weeks old, and then that's when they start laying eggs. So you can maybe get them at 6 weeks and seven, eight, nine, and then they start laying at 8 to 9 weeks.
That's really fast.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's some
Not weeks, months.
Oh, okay.
Months?
I was like, that's some fucking child labor you're talking about there, man. That's
No, a chick grows. No, chickens grow pretty fast though. They're not chicks for long. I would have to Google it. I forget if it's weeks or months. But it's not 9 months because that's almost a full year, and chickens don't live that long. And chickens only give eggs for about 2, 3 years. Chickens give eggs their whole life. Their production slows down. So
huh.
it's a funny thing. Even with the light, like in the winter, they give less eggs because of the light.
So you guys checked it out and nothing indicates disease or
I lifted her wings, checked for fleas. I looked at her face. I looked at her butt.
Mhm.
I saw a little bit of like a little scrape of blood as I was cleaning out, like because the chicken coop needed a cleaning anyways, needed a spot clean, and I figured, okay, she's dead, and if she's sick, I don't want to contaminate my other chicken, so I just did like a fast, a better than usual clean, like got all the poop out and whatever. It's like a
Hmm.
big cat litter, right? So and then I put some fresh pine shavings on top, but it's just totally random. It's just funny that we just like ended up on the chicken topic. It's like an ode to Dorothy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she did her stint. She accomplished her goal. Her
I
quest.
guess. I mean, I'm sure I could have had another good year out of her. So now because I can't introduce another chicken. You have to do it in twos for some reason. It's like a pecking order thing.
Okay.
I can't just bring one chicken in; they'll pick on her. Like it's guaranteed that that chicken will be picked on. And then it's good luck finding a chicken that's going to be laying eggs. So chances are, if people are giving away chickens, you're getting elderly chickens that aren't laying eggs. So I'm like, there's no point. My buddy
Yeah, that's
got
the fucking point of that. It's just
yeah,
a
my buddy
pet.
got shafted that way. He had a bigger pen. He had four chickens. No, I think they had six, and because they live in a cul-de-sac, there's less like worry about them getting into the street and getting run over by cars. So he would let them out, and the chickens will come back. Chickens will come back at night, and they'll go back into the coop, and you just close the door for predators, whatever. But one day they got back, and there was just feathers everywhere. So he's like, okay,
Okay.
so they lost two, and then so they had four or three left or whatever, and then they some people were like giving away chickens. Well, we got lucky; they're giving away chickens, but those chickens are too old. They weren't laying eggs. It's like, well, that's why people are giving away chickens because they're not giving. Like, I'm like, you didn't think to ask. Like, it
Yeah.
was just funny. Like, I'm not interested in keeping chickens for the sake of keeping chickens. Like, they're there for my egg production. Thank you very much.
They're probably hoping it's one of those younger generations who just want, random animals in their house because they're rescuing them.
No, no, it
Oh
hasn't
man.
been a good week for us for farm animals. We lost our rabbit too 2 weeks ago. He
Really?
died, but he was old.
Wait,
He was
was it?
old.
I'm sorry if I'm misremembering the name. Was it Thumper?
No, Gustavo,
Gustavo.
Gus. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
He
Sorry.
was a mini rabbit. Yeah, he was a mini rabbit. He was yeah, but we noticed like it was like he got old like that.
Mm.
It's like one day he was fine, the next day like he's old. Having trouble
Oh
breathing,
no.
not eating, stopping eating. We fed him. We gave him some pills. He was getting the muck in his eyes. We're cleaning his eyes, putting drops. Oh, he's doing better. Okay, fine. He just got a little stint. Fine. Rabbits do that. And then, oh no, he was old. Okay. It's just such is life.
But I heard that rabbits are a fucking pain to keep, man. They'll chew through your baseboards, they'll chew wires, they'll chew through
Yeah.
anything.
No, rabbits chew for sure. You have to give them toys. If you let them loose in your house, you're done. Like you're done. You have to have a dedicated room or at least a pen. Like we got a puppy pen for Gustavo
I
because I
remember.
just couldn't do it. I couldn't keep a rabbit in a
It was
cage,
it was in
even
the
though he was.
mezzanine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so you get those puppy pens. I would say that anybody like it's so cruel to keep that rabbit in a cage. Like rabbits need to run and they show you affection, which is pretty amazing. Um, like we would pet this kid. In the beginning, he was a dick, but like bigger rabbits, I guess maybe they more personality. I don't know. You'd pet him, and then when he would stop, he would put his head down and put his head under your finger to nudge you to be like, keep petting me.
Yeah.
You would like you don't expect that from a rabbit. He would if they lick you, that means they love you. And he would lick Jen. He would lick Allison. He would just bite me. I don't know. He never loved me, I guess. Um,
Because all you saw was a French cookbook. That's
he's
it.
too small even for an appetizer. And no,
Hey,
but rabbits are good. They're just if you're allergic to cats, you'll chances are you're allergic to the rabbit.
you're a person that's very in tune with animals, like in a sense, like how you don't mind caring for them. You enjoy their company. You appreciate the life that you're witnessing in front of you, basically, right? But like, is there anywhere that you would draw the line? Because like me, for instance, I'm not against like say I'll never go out and seek exotic foods that are like illegal or.
Exotic pets, you mean?
Ooh, sorry.
Exotic pets, you mean?
No. I'm talking to consume, to eat.
Oh, no.
Like for instance, like if somebody like I wouldn't go out of my way and look for cat or dog or shit like that. I don't want that. It's not interesting to
You
me
don't
at
live in
all.
Vietnam. Okay.
So, yeah,
That's not
but
a stab at Vietnamese. That's just
that's his culture.
see.
But if it's presented to me, like I'm not gonna be like people will hear that like how oh they eat cat in Vietnam or something and people will like freak out and lose their
Dog.
minds and be like oh my god that's
Dog.
horrible or dog yeah, and in my mind I'm like it's their food, it's what they eat, like we eat cows,
Well,
we eat
we
chickens,
exactly we eat cow, and in India, isn't cow like sacred?
yeah, hyper sacred, yeah. Well, fucking they'll massacre monkeys though and eat those, but
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think the only exotic food that I'm actually interested in eating, I've had ostrich burgers before. Once the meat is ground, it's ground. Uh, I have maybe that I have an emu burger once. I don't know if I had an emu. I know I had an ostrich burger. I
no
don't think I've
but
ever had kangaroo. I'm curious. The one food I am curious about eating is I want to eat some crocodile.
yo they sell that shit in a can. Yeah,
I
I
kind of
know.
want it fried. I kind of want that fried crocodile, like the deep fried crocodile.
But I heard that crocodile meat is funky. Like it has a very strong flavor to it. Um,
I don't doubt because it's their diet, right?
yeah,
Every animal is gonna have a certain flavor because of their diet. Even deer alone will have different flavors that I learned the hard way. Um, well, the hard way. I didn't learn the hard way. I learned like by trial and error. Um, and it actually turned me off. I almost stopped hunting the first time I tried deer because I thought it was cool and whatever. And my uncle made me try deer, and I was like, This doesn't taste good."
Well, wait,
Like
wait. Well, what didn't taste good? Was it gamey?
it was very gamey. It was
Okay.
very, and by gamey, like what that means is basically like you're actually tasting what the animal is eating. So
Okay.
if they're up north, animals are gonna have like a little less fat, but again, they're gonna eat more herbs and the ends of trees and pine, and they're gonna grab as much as they possibly can in the north because they really need to gain that fat so they can survive. So their diet is a little different. And then one day I was at my same uncle's, whatever, and I'm eating meat, and I'm like, delicious. I'm like, I haven't had veal in a long time, and they're looking at me and they're like, this it's not veal. I'm like, what is this? They're like, we made you deer, and I'm like, this ain't no fucking deer. This is veal. Like you cooked it in the pan like my grandmother used to make, and with the onions, and it's perfect. Like just nice and seared, like how the
Yeah.
Italians do it. They sear some meat and just eat it. And I'm like, no, no, this is veal. This is like milk-fed veal. And they're like, no. I'm like, where did you get this deer? Like, and they're like, well, this is deer from North Carolina, down south.
Mm.
These deer are eating off the fat of the land. They're having soybeans, they're having wheat, they're having abundance of food.
Yeah.
There's no winter there. It's completely different. So it's like, well, wait a minute. So that's why I prefer to hunt in Hemingford, not only for we get the double harvest where we're allowed to, if you do it in the right order, you can shoot up to two deer per person because it's only one per hunter normally here in Quebec.
Mhm.
But it's the fact that the meat actually tastes good. It's a bit more gamey than North Carolina, but not as gamey as up north, Lac Mégantic, 4 or 5 hours away.
Yeah.
So that's just for a 4 hour drive, you've got a taste difference.
Just because the
Uh,
fauna and the environment changed that much for them to feed off of.
exactly. That's why I'm sure like deer out east, Saskatchewan and whatever. I'm sure that those deers,
Damn. What about the deer in Africa? It's like
antelope. You mean?
the antelope. Yeah. Sorry. I wonder what that tastes
No, I
like.
mean I'm sure there's species of deer. I have to look it up. It's mostly antelope and gazelles, and I'd be curious. I'd eat that.
And
That's for
that,
sure.
and Anna's Bananas is saying that she had cactus and snake soup, and that it wasn't great. She said she also had crocodile or alligator. She's not sure, and she does not remember what it tastes like. If you don't remember what it tastes like, you probably didn't like it.
No.
It's funny you said it about the hunting in Quebec. Like it's one kill per hunter,
Yep.
and and then elsewhere, like in the United States or wherever else you were mentioning, like you can do the double harvest.
No, in Hemingford here, which is closer to the states, well, we can do double. North Carolina and certain other states, it can go up to 6 deer per hunter.
Jesus.
It's just because
Okay.
they have the mating season in the warmer states is 4 times a year, so they're overrun by deer.
Okay.
So it's
But that's what I'm curious about. Like, are the hunting restrictions here? Is it because of um?
population control.
It's just population control. That's it, strictly. It's nothing else.
No,
Okay.
except for moose. Moose is it's for that as well, but um
Sorry.
you can legally be two to hunt moose, but the government requires you to have a party. You have to register your party of four, and most outfitters will only allow you to be four people to a moose. They don't allow or inflict the minimum two-person rule. Like you have to register two people for a tag because one it one for population and that's a lot of meat for one person. So the here in Quebec, the Quebecers all decided that when you go moose hunting, you're going to be a party of four. You have to register four people or more. You can split it as many you want, but the minimum is four. But
But
you're getting one moose. You're not going to get like you could be eight and then you would split your party because whatever you wouldn't do that. But if you're six, there it's one moose. You're
damn.
done.
But I think that's reasonable because I don't think people understand how big moose are.
Oh,
Like these things are fucking tanks, man. Like the
a moose. You're gonna chop up a moose in four. You could easily get like it's as if you all got a deer each.
there you go.
And more.
It's our mammoth. It's our elephant, so to speak. It's the thing's fucking huge, man. The reason why I was asking that question was because I was having a conversation with somebody today, and I was asking them about you've heard of ESG, right? We talked about this before.
Probably.
Environment, social, and governance. It's this new thing that a lot of corporations are pushing for. Like, what's your ESG score? What's your ESG score? You know.
Oh, okay.
Um, and every company gets one from the stock market. They get it from investment banks. They get it from everybody. Everybody issues them a score to say like how are their environmental rules, their governance rules, and their social rules. Um, and it's turning into a big conversation topic right now because it's leading the way. It's really shaping the future of what finance is going to look like in the world, not just in North America. Like for instance, if you don't have a good ESG score, or if you don't play by a certain set of rules, you're not issued an ESG score. That automatically bars you from a lot of people investing in you, so to speak. Like I remember the biggest controversy that came out was when uh, they didn't issue Tesla an ESG score. They took it away from him because well, he had one and it was taken away from him. To be honest, I'm not clear of the reason why it was taken away from him. My understanding was that I know that the production of an electric car is something that highly pollutes.
Highly pollutant is detrimental to our earth. Of course,
Exactly.
you're mining.
So that in itself is a scratch on your ESG score. But there was also the conversation at the time. As soon as he had the conversation that Elon Musk said he wanted to buy Twitter, that's when his ESG score was pulled, and that could be the S part, the social part. You know, that ticked it to the point where they took away his score. So now nobody can invest in Tesla. Like you
Well,
would,
I mean, I think you can still buy Tesla.
me and you, we can still go and buy Tesla shares. But let's say that BlackRock wants to go and buy Tesla shares, they're gonna block them. They're gonna say no, the ESG score is not good enough.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So you're missing out on big investors, and the big investors are the ones that are setting the rules for what these ESG scores should be. So I was having this conversation with someone today, and I was asking him about it, and I was like, so like are like, do you feel like there's still pushback on ESG? Because a lot of people are starting to fight back on ESG. Like for instance, BlackRock and Vanguard, two of the biggest investment firms in the world right now, came out and admitted and said that how uh, ESG investing is what they call it. ESG investing is not profitable. Like it doesn't make money. You know,
Yeah,
because
because you go woke, you go broke.
there you go. So there's that, and then the S&P 500.
Yeah.
I read that they completely pulled ESG off their index, so it's no longer a metric that they use to determine how good a company's doing. It's a big deal.
When the big guys start losing money, then they're like, okay, there's only so much bullshit you can, and by bullshit, I mean global warming and environmental friendly
Hmm.
um, properties and policies you can put into place before people start realizing it's all bullshit. Everyone knows it's bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that nobody knows it's bullshit. People who like are like, oh, don't forget, you should recycle that. Like, you don't throw it in the garbage, you should recycle it. It's like you should lick my balls. That's what you should be doing right now because that's pretty much all you're worth. Um, and I'm sorry I'm not being crude enough. If you don't get my point, it was even what was the movie we watched? We watched some movie with it's top 10 in Canada today. It was a cop thriller, whatever, and there was a scene where they go to this recycling plant because some piece of evidence gets thrown out, and they're like, "Oh shit, we need that like shirt or whatever from the killer," and garbage truck came
Yeah.
and he's like, "Don't aren't you guys supposed to separate all this stuff?" And he looks at him, he's like, and he makes this comment like, "Are you kidding me?" He goes, "Why do you think they push it on the people to do it at home? We don't have the resources to do that." It's like garbage and recycling don't get separated. He's like, "Are you like?" And we were laughing. My wife and I were laughing at that. We're like, "Yeah, that's what we've been saying. Like, separate this, separate that. You're supposed to wash it, clean it. If your cap is on it, it goes in the garbage. It all goes in the garbage. Some of it
Hmm.
gets separated, but like the paper and the glass, like how do they know? Like, all my recycling goes in the same bin.
Hmm.
Who's there actually separating this stuff? I need to see this for my hand. You
Yeah.
can't believe me. I don't believe that there's someone actually there thinking they're paying somebody to actually sift through garbage, even though it's recycling, to separate it. Like I don't know. Like maybe I'm just
Some
being naive to the whole
some
process.
some recycling
They have
centers
to a
do
certain
have that.
point, right?
They
Because I
have
mean,
it
like
to.
I'm throwing cardboard and glass and plastic, so they have to like there has to be some sort of process. But like
Hmm.
I guess in New York and the bigger states, it was just I don't know. It was a funny joke. So that in itself is we're recycling, trying to do better. But we're still using diesel trucks because there's no way you can't use a diesel truck because you wouldn't have enough force for the hydraulics to actually compress it all, or else your truck would be filled in like in two streets.
Yeah.
So it's like and then the energy. Let's not forget that the energy, only 2% of the world is actually using renewable energy at this point to actually power anything. These are the stats of the past. I want to say 20, but I could confidently say 10, but I'm sure it's almost 20 years since this whole like renewable energy and clean energy. The world still runs off coal. The world still runs off like nothing has changed.
Um. What
Tax has gone.
what's funny about that statement is that you say
Wind
that
farms do not produce enough to support cities. Maybe one.
wind farms are proven to be trash. Like they're proven that they do not produce enough electricity. Number one, and number two, the actual production of these wind farms is again like recyclable cars. It's detrimental to pollution.
Of
They need
course.
to mine for like these fucking resources and just destroy the earth. Um and fuck, I forgot where I was going with this shit.
Talking
Oh
about
yeah,
mining
so,
is not worth it.
you're talking about coal and how it's funny when you make that statement. How you say like how we're still running on coal and that kind of stuff, and a lot of people would say, that's not true. There's no coal factories here. There's none of this. There's no this and none of that. I was like, and what people keep forgetting, and it's mainly people from here and people from the United States that have this issue. It's that they keep forgetting we are not the world.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget that just because we don't run coal power plants here doesn't mean the rest of the world ain't running them, including Europe.
It's funny 'cause I had that conversation. Like, yeah, but it makes sense in Quebec because we use natural. I'm like, it's Quebec is not the province that's gonna keep Tesla running because we have electric cars. or any other company for that matter, Toyota, whatever, if they all go electric by 2030, it won't just be in Quebec because everyone's going to buy their cars in Ontario and then bring them over.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Hold on. My dog is at the door crying and my wife's
Oh.
trying to like call him up. He sees me. You're not listening to mommy.
Y'all got a show there.
Where's mommy?
JoeyTwoWolves booty crack.
I regret ever bringing my dog into the basement. He was so scared of coming down the stairs. And so at one point I just put it like we were always downstairs, so he was always crying upstairs. So we are like, okay, look. And he just like froze and he was like, no, don't touch me, don't pick me up. I don't want to go downstairs. So we threw a towel over him, over his face, and brought him downstairs once, and then that was it. He could do the stairs no problem. It was just like a mental thing.
Okay.
When the door is closed, he'll cry, but he won't come down. Then he started coming down and he cried at the door. Now he's confident enough to open the door with his head, but because the door is like I didn't shave it down enough, so it sticks.
Okay.
He's scared to walk through it. Like he's a big dog. He's massive. So he's just sitting there in the crack staring at me crying. And I'm like, you can easily smash down my door, but you won't. Like he's just scared to come in. So it's just funny. So I regret like teaching him that you can come in. Because one time I made him, I'm like, no, you're gonna push the door all the way and open it. So now he comes down full force and he puts his head on the door when he's gonna go through the glass. But so it's just nothing but regret with this dog. Nothing but regret.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Listen, to close it off, I want to show you something real quick.
Yeah, totally.
And this is the article that I'm reading, something that made me laugh. About our dear old friend Trudeau. We were talking about jerking off earlier, and it reminded me I want to talk about this. So,
Yeah, we went from no nutting to
to chickens, to
chicken.
to ESG, and now we've come full circle.
I guess we'll talk about the UFO invasion next time, or you wanna touch up on that?
Oh, we could touch on that next time if you want. This weekend, if
Yeah,
you're
okay.
available.
I'm good.
Um, so for Trudeau,
Yeah.
this article I believe came out yesterday or the day before. Trudeau denounces Meta's news as Trudeau denounces Meta's news block as fires force evacuations. So there's like some serious fires in BC
Yeah.
right now. And the government is not happy because social media is suppressing all the news right now. They're not showing any news at all on I believe on its YouTube. No, wait, is it? Yeah, well, it's supposed to be the Google platforms, Facebook, Instagram, all these things. It's not pushing any news at all.
Um, Google platforms were never a source of good information anyway. Um, was there how much news was on the Quebec fires?
No, well, at the time there was, but now there's no news at all. Like Facebook actually doesn't display news at all for Canadians anymore. That stopped. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
remember, but that's because Facebook said we don't. Not that they don't agree with the policy, they just won't do it, right?
Well, it's inconceivable for them to do it.
Yeah.
So, but the quote is, it's so inconceivable that companies like Facebook is choosing to put corporate profits ahead of ensuring that local news organizations get up-to-date information to Canadians and reach them where Canadians spend a lot of their time online, social media, and on Facebook. So that's our dear friend Trudeau speaking there. And what's really funny about all this is that, yeah, Facebook, social media, online, no one's pushing any of this stuff in Canada, but it's because of his law. He's forgetting to say that. It's because of his law that they're not doing it. And by them not doing it, they're actually respecting his law. They're following the law.
Okay, so that's because I was confused by that headline. I'm like, okay, what are you saying? You're saying that they're talking bad about him, or they're talking about? Okay,
So
yeah,
so
he's an
so so
idiot.
so Trudeau, yeah, he's fucking yeah. So
Dude, he
Trudeau
gets
is
shut. He gets shut down on every. How many times do I see on a TikTok or whatever? Every interview he's in, he's like, okay, well, the last one, okay, Mr. Trudeau, well, we're done right now. He's like, well, no, no, hold on, we haven't spoken about this, we haven't spoken about that. He goes, I want, and then they'll just like the interviewer will just turn back and be like, you made your point clear. You don't care about this, you don't care about that, and she's naming all this stuff, and he's like, well, no, 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 okay,
Oh yeah,
like
I saw that, and that was quite interesting
nobody
actually.
respects him. Nobody respects.
She fired back at him
Yeah,
when he said that, like, we didn't talk about climate change, we didn't talk about this, that he said these are things that matter to Canadians, and then she fired back about all the things that that he didn't actually care about to talk about. You know what I mean? Because he does that, famous dance around a question every time he does
yeah.
something. I just thought that this headline was fucking hilarious because he's mad at them for following his rules.
They really think we're stupid. Honestly, like the media and whatever, like and I mean, he's just a puppet, but like at this point, either his handler is just like given up on him completely, and they're like, let the people hang him because we're done with Canada, or they got what they wanted, God knows what,
Mm.
and they really think we're that stupid. Like I don't know, uh, like and to a certain point, I think we are because no one's doing anything about it. But we're seeing how
What
people are
can
waking up.
but wait, what can you do against it other than waiting for an election? What can you do about it?
The people we can, the trucker convoy. Okay, they went after was that the girl name? Oh, I'm like the worst with names. They went after the two guys who were supposedly organizing it. They managed to shut down their Bitcoin account because people were sending Bitcoin. A lot of people didn't talk about that,
I
but
heard
like
about that.
they were getting a lot of funding through Bitcoin, and they managed to, because by the end the users are um, now a lot of like Binance and Bittrex a couple of months ago, and then now this year Binance had to pull out of Canada because they did not want to follow their rules of like almost full disclosure of like whoever's making money, we need to know. You have to show us what's going on. And they're like, we don't have to show you nothing. Like,
Yeah.
so they have to follow rule and whatever. So they're cracking down. They're really trying to crack down because Bitcoin is the only thing. That's why it's not in the news anymore, regardless of the price jump. Right? They don't even want to talk about it anymore
Hmm.
because they don't want people. They want people to forget about it because this is the deal. So, anyways, I sidetracked on that, but the trucker convoy, and I had friends that went and they told me about it, was the most peaceful, non-violent protest. I'm sure there's plenty more happening around the world, but for us Canadians, people were stuck in traffic. Cars were left in the middle of the city for a few days. People didn't care. People knew why they were there. Turned off their cars, they walked. Cops were there. Nobody was provoking nothing. Maybe some drunks here and there, but nothing. But that was like the regular
Yeah.
uh, Hoboville of Ottawa. And people were giving each other food and water and whatever. And it was like, I had some friends that went and said the vibe of this place was really happening. Nobody wanted to get into a fight. People were very nice to each other. Real Canadian stuff.
Yeah.
And they were just there to make a point. And it sucks because those people who got arrested, those two who were organized that got arrested, they could have been. I don't know them that well. I didn't do that much research on them. I just knew of I think it's Scott something and Elisa. I'm getting these names wrong, but um,
But
just
I know who you're speaking about, but the two organizers of the
they could
entire.
have been. They could, but we had no. We could do that again, but I think we just need more. And that was imagine we did that without much organization. People just said, "I'm coming," and they said, "Just come to Ottawa, no violence," and it just happened. So imagine someone actually came up and said, "Okay," which I'm hoping it is happening underground. I'm not in tune with it. If we had that and someone said, "Let's do like they did in Denmark
Hmm.
when they put that tax on the farmers," and all the farmers came out and said, "No, we're done with the tractors," and they made their own party, and it's like nothing's stopping people from being like, "We're done. This is how we're governing it." And we're going to lead, and like there's got to be some smart people, there's got to be some lawyers involved, there's got to be somebody who understands parliament enough to be like, we're going to create another party and the Canadians are going to vote for this party, and screw it, we're going to be the voice of the people.
Yeah.
And
Just so you know, the names are Tamara Lynch and Chris Barber.
Chris Barber, not Scott, Chris Lynch, thanks. And then and they got arrested, and it's unfortunate. They got I don't want to say scapegoat, but they got like kind of martyred for it, but like to the point where if they were there, maybe something more would have happened. Maybe they would have pushed it to the next level. Maybe they still are, and hopefully they are. And they didn't get too scared and they didn't get totally broked out.
Oh, I don't think they're scared, man. I think a fire has been lit within them. Me personally, that's just a feeling that I have. That's not
Oh,
based off any
they're
report.
marked, man. You know, Ottawa was a scary thing when we went for New Year's. No, Canada Day, sorry, not New Year's. Those drones are pretty big in Ottawa, and they're watching. Like they were worried about Canada Day. Not, there wasn't a good Canada Day, man. Not that many people showed up.
No,
Canadians did not show up for Canada Day at the Parliament.
fuck that. Why would we? Like, okay, listen. I don't think what I find is crazy, and the part that not enough people speak about specifically about the trucker convoy, is how the government actively froze. Not for like forget Bitcoin, okay? The government froze not just your bank accounts, but everything. Your
Yeah,
mortgage, your like everything, your credit, all of your payments through everything, every service you have, everything was frozen by government. It was seized. Okay, and like that happened because of people disagreeing with the government's opinion. So the moment you disagree with the government's opinion, they shut you out financially from the world. And you would never think that that's something that would happen in Canada. Not in a million years. Like you would.
he didn't even address the issue. It was like you have that many people show up to your front doorstep in the capital. You don't even address it and be like, okay, what's up? What do
No,
you guys want?
like he has nothing to say. There's nothing he can say, and we all know he doesn't answer
Yeah, you can. You can
questions.
be like, okay, clearly the majority of these truckers want to fucking go through borders without masks, without COVID testing, without this, without that. Clearly, there's enough of them. Maybe we should look into what's going on and what the the important people, the truckers, the people who are giving us transport. I'm pissed off more at the people that are not waking up to be like, oh, these truckers, what are assholes, and they just cause traffic, and it's like, do you understand what truckers are? You know, it's not American movies where like they're not raping people on the side of the road. This isn't Midnight Trucker, the horror movie.
Mm,
This is our transport. This is how we get our supplies, how we
yeah,
get our food. Like this is our this is the chain that if this breaks, we're fucked. Like all of us.
pretty much.
So it's Riker, you're being a pain by pushing the door open like that. Um, and people still didn't wake up. Some of them did, but some of them didn't. They're like, "Oh, these truckers, what's their problem?" It's like trucking is not just a side job. Trucking is how we survive. And it's like if they're pissed, this isn't some PTA meeting at some a school board because someone's mad at a book. This is like this is real shit. And I think a lot of people are still brainwashed, but I think a lot of people woke up. But at the same time, like, where was the conversation there? Even if you weren't on it, even if you were against the truckers, you should have been like, okay, well, I'm for parliament, so why didn't my government see what they wanted so we can resolve this so this doesn't happen again?
No, instead he hid.
Well, that's it.
He hid in his home. He didn't address it, and he froze people's bank accounts, and and forced him out. A what do you call it? A peaceful protest, and
Yeah.
then you have the other peaceful protest that happens, which destroys small businesses and burn shit down, and those are fine though. Those protests, but
Dude,
that
I was following those on. You're talking about the United States there and
in
all
the
the
United States, and oh man,
Antifa.
yeah, yeah,
Come,
and
come here, come
they,
here, Riker, here. Fuck. Come here.
all that training.
I know he won't push open a door. Here, you wanna come see Daddy? Come here. Come on, come on. He can
No,
come in, babe. It's fine.
but
I wish
yeah,
I could move the camera so you could see him. It's such a sad. No, I can't.
no, it's okay, it's okay. But yeah, yeah. All that to say, I just feel like that's some really, like, I hate to say this word because it's fucking cliche, but to me that was like a real dictator move. You know, it's like you would
Look,
you
it's what it is.
like
It's what we're under.
like you think of North Korea, you think of China, you think of all those places. You'd be like, yeah, I could see them freezing their people's bank accounts the moment they disagree with them. But
It,
nope, that happened
within
here
your
in
first,
Canada.
And you want to talk about brainwash, man? Like how many? There's so many Chinese people, Asiatic people, and so many Koreans and Chinese and population versus the government. Like I don't know. I don't get that culture. You think like, oh, they're so advanced, this and that, whatever. Oh, Americans are stupid. Blah, blah, blah. What about the Asians, man? China is not a small country,
Fuck
and I
no.
don't mean a small country by land. I mean a small country by population. All that population has to decide when we're not paying taxes. We're gonna do things our way.
I
Like
don't.
they could easily overturn the government, easily,
I
but
don't.
it's ruled
I
by
don't know
fear.
about that. I don't know about that because they make like countries like China, North Korea, and all that stuff. They have mandatory military service, which means their military is always ripe to go for a certain and always has a certain set number of soldiers ready to be deployed at all times,
Yeah, they're
regardless of
fresh soldiers. They remember coming from nothing. It's mandatory military. Nobody wants to be there.
exactly. So you have a young boy who has to do military time, and once he's in there, and he's told, "Hey, this person, this citizen is not doing what we want. Go hit them." And the young boy says no, and his government says, "If you don't hit him, we shoot you." That young boy can be
I know,
influenced
but they're all,
very
but
easily.
they're but they're but they're all young boys, and then they're gonna call home and say, "I have to do this," and their parents are gonna be like, "No, we're revolting." And then every young boy's like gonna be called up and say, "No, we're revolting," and they'll switch. That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know. Like I think China really.
I get it. They're like, it's honor to
Oh
listen
no,
to your
it's
government.
not even that. I think they're remembering shit like Tiananmen Square. You know, like they were all out there protesting. They were all out there saying we've had enough, and they were tenting out and stuff in Tiananmen Square. And then a bunch of tanks rolled in and then rolled out, and then they washed the pavement with a hose. Literally,
Yeah,
that's what they'll do, and I think that scares the shit out of a population. You know, I don't
no,
think
but
I don't. I'm afraid to say this because I could be wrong. I don't think Canada will ever get there, but we're certainly on the same track.
no, I think Canadians are a little different. I think if that peaceful protest, the tanks came out and started running over people, there's a limit. Like there was like
I don't
Malcolm,
know,
and
man.
I don't mean to make this like a racial thing or whatever, but like there was Malcolm X. Sorry, there was Martin Luther King,
Hmm.
and then they were pushed to the limit, and then Malcolm X. You fight back. You don't. Peace is good up until a certain point, and I would go that route too. Like when I saw those peaceful protests in the States and people were being run over by cars and whatever just to provoke this protest of whatever. It was an amazing um, show of restraint. I was upset. I'm like, oh my god, this car just ran over this person for no reason. They were trying to provoke it. Nobody ran after the car. Nobody gave them even an inch of a reason to like come and like. I was like, grab a rock, smash the window, and beat the shit out of that guy in his face. You just ran over a human being. You were okay with that, hiding like a coward in your car, using your car to provoke something,
Yeah,
right? And this guy's stupid enough to be told that's what you have to do, start provoking a fight, and he didn't know what to do, so he ran over some person. And it's like I'm beating up the wrong person, but they would have used that. They would have been like, "That's our goal." Antifa would have came in and been like, "Look at this riot! Look what happened! People were beating up people." They would have twisted the news 100%, but they couldn't because all the footage was of this car running over this person and nobody doing anything about it. They helped the person out of the way. Nobody even kicked the car. Nobody even like spit on the car. They just let the car go. Hey, whatever, fuck off.
yeah.
The people, the cops and the horses running over people. I don't think that would fly in Canada. I think to a certain point, you take out a tank, you crush a car, you hurt one person.
But
We're gonna turn
didn't.
American. We're gonna turn American like that.
But I'm a little confused in your statement. The horse is crushing people. Didn't that happen though?
No, it did happen,
Right.
but there was no revolt. The peaceful protest stayed peaceful. They
Yeah.
hurt the peaceful protest. Nobody did anything. It was such a beautiful show of restraint. It's such a beautiful show of we're at the next level, even spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, 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 no. This is okay. You're being a dick. Person got hurt. Really sorry. Everyone was mad about it. There was no way you weren't mad about it. To be like, you're on a horse, you fucking dick. Like, it's so easy to provoke a horse, to do anything to a horse, pellet gun, PB gun, whatever, to the ass, to the face, whatever, knock a cop off, jump on the horse, and like start a whole riot. Nobody just okay. You're gonna be like that. Let's grab this person. Let's make sure he's okay. That's number one priority, and let's keep on protesting peacefully. They had nothing. They had nothing, and that's the way it should be done. To a certain point, you take out a tank, you start running over people. There's a limit. There's a
Mm.
limit, and you're gonna lose.
But the thing I wanted to mention was that how, like you're saying, I think that the other side of this equation here, like, so you have the people that wanted to protest, the one that wanted to do the peaceful protest, and you have the ones that were against it. We're the only two sides. I don't think there were many in betweens. People are like, oh, I
Mhm.
don't care. I think everyone had an opinion on which side they were on, and um, I think it's unfair to say that the side that says the protests were unnecessary, the truckers are assholes, and so on and so forth. Not the people, but the government supported those people. Obviously, they were backing them up and saying that they had the right train of thought. And in my opinion, they radicalized them and like incited violence within them. You know what I mean? Within that group of people, because you can go back and listen to Trudeau's speeches, like how he said like how we'll never deny someone who's not vaccinated a service or something like that. And then you cut to another speech and he's saying like how, don't think you can get on a plane or a bus, or like you're not allowed to do any of this stuff if you're not vaccinated, and so on and so forth. um and it just, and he, what did he call them? He called the people that weren't vaccinated undesirables or something like that at some
No,
point.
it was along the lines of like they're being selfish or something.
Problematic people,
Yeah,
like he looped them in and gave them and he labeled them something, and it was just like rhetoric and language that would like incite like anger against people that were on that side of the fence. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And like today, for me, it's not uncommon to hear people that support the government that we have now to say things like, "Oh yeah, they should just perish," you know, they should just kill them or just lock them up or so on and so forth. And like that's where those people are at now.
Well, exactly, and they need that. They need to follow. Um, oh, the government said that. That's okay. Look up. What is the Megatron saying? Tubatron, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Okay, so that's what it is. Oh, those people should perish. Those people should perish, man. 1984. It's what it is. They managed to brainwash enough of those people. People are happy enough with their status quo. You know, I was just having this conversation with a friend. Same thing goes back to the COVID. COVID gave purpose to a lot of people. Oh, you got to draw those
Hmm.
lines at work. Madame this way, sir this way. No, walk this one way. One way. Please put your mask. I'm important now. My job at Walmart or here or there or wherever, I have my depression. I'm helping the world. I have purpose now.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they played on. And those people are like, whatever. I'm voting liberal because I'm liberal. Even if I don't agree with them, it doesn't matter. My ego, just like the Quebecois who vote for PQ all the time, they have
And
no,
and
like
but also to that equation is like the people that are well off. Like the people that don't have to worry about funds and the people that don't have to worry about anything. Like
it's a pride thing. We're liberal, this family. We vote liberal. You're a fucking idiot.
like
Not that there's much choice. Like you can't really blame them because it's not like there's a plethora of choice to be like, well, where do I want my government? Where do I want my savings? It's like no, we vote liberal because we're libertarian. We're.
that just makes no sense to me. Like what's funny is that I saw that growing up in video games.
Oh yeah,
You had the PlayStation fans, you had the Nintendo fans, and you had the Xbox fans. And they all fucking hated each other. Like
yeah.
seriously. They really hated each other. And when a game would come out on PlayStation, we'd be like, haha, fuck you, Xbox, you don't have it. And then vice versa, and so on and so forth. And then everybody shit on Nintendo because all they had was Mario. That's
I was
I,
Team
I
Nintendo
guess
because I was
I
because I was
guess
Team Sega
I guess they're
as
the
I grow.
NDP.
Yeah,
um, so yeah, and when you look at things today, a lot of console makers are trying to end the so-called console wars. No more timed exclusives. No, like you, everybody's console gets to play a game. Yeah, sure. God of War will be on PS4, but you'll get it on PC down the road. Don't worry. You know what I mean? So
Eventually, when it's done its course, right?
exactly. So
Like Resident Evil is now a Sony.
Microsoft,
No, yeah, it's Capcom. So
it's Capcom.
Capcom was, yeah. So I mean, I think it's a Nintendo exclusive,
Oh, is it
which we
now?
probably won't.
There you go.
Well, it was back in the day when it was Nintendo Cube
I remember Resident Evil 1 was on PlayStation, no?
for a while, I believe so.
Yeah.
But then it was Nintendo only, and
Damn.
I just went with Nintendo because once the Dreamcast came out, I was a big Dreamcast fan. It was the best system out of all of them,
The Dreamcast was
but
the best console ever. It,
ever
it played
ever
music.
created.
It played
It
videos.
had internet,
It had internet. Yeah.
you know.
The world's first MMO that was on a console was on the Dreamcast. And
Controller was so ergonomic.
oh
And
yeah,
you could plug something inside. You had a screen in front of you,
your memory card had a screen that you could slide in there. But
and then
the
my buddy had a stack like this of games that he cracked because of the ROM.
oh, cracked? You didn't crack shit, bro. You just downloaded it and burnt it. That's how fucked the console was. That's where they screwed up. No one paid for a game on that console because it required no cracking. You literally download it, you burn it onto a disc, and it'll just read it. It was that crazy, the Dreamcast. And the same thing for music, movies, anything. It'll just fucking read it. It was crazy. But the point I was trying to make is like it's crazy how the video game community grew up faster than society. That's insane, man. It's
Yeah,
like
if you put it that way, that's interesting.
it's really fucked up because like right now gamers are in a place where like yeah fuck the console wars, man. Everyone just fucking play games we love, you know. Like hey you're on that side, you like Halo, well I'm on this side, I like God of War, but your shit's cool, my shit's cool, you know. Like that's where video game is heading right now. That's the industry it's in, and fucking society just can't grasp that yet.
That's cool. That's a good analogy.
Oh
Oh my
man.
god.
Well, hey, this was a good talk, brother. I
Yeah,
appreciate you
man.
taking the time. Um,
Totally.
and if you're free this weekend, like I said, I'm off tomorrow, and this weekend I don't have too much planned. Let me know, and we can talk about some aliens.
Yeah, we
And
could.
I have a different perspective on it right now than I did before, which might be
Yeah.
interesting to explore.
Okay, next time let's just jump into it straight up
Yeah,
because I
man.
thought you were gonna segue into it and we never did.
No, no. Tonight I just wanted chit to chat. Honestly.
Okay, cool.
All
It's
right,
nice
bro.
that we spoke about masturbation and then and then my chicken.
And Tiananmen Square, and yeah, we talked about a lot of weird shit, but
Yeah,
those are always fun. All right,
those are-
thanks, brother.
take it easy, man. Thanks.